Welcome back to another episode of the Strength and Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Strength and Speed owner and Mud Gear Hannibal Race Pro, Evan Preparis. Before we get to our guest, a quick word from this episode's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by OCR Buddy. If you haven't downloaded the OCR Buddy app, please do. That's how I find all my races. It allows you to search by distance, state, weekend, etc. So really user-friendly. And we're going to be talking about a race called Hazelwood OCR towards the second half of this episode. And one of the ways I found that race is through the OCR Buddy app. So download OCR Buddy app. It's got a bunch of discounts in there for you guys to use and allows you to sign up for future races. Also, a bunch of my articles. I've been pushing a lot of my articles through them. So you can check out ocrbuddy.com if you want to read some of those. All right. Joining me on the podcast, I have Captain NBC himself, a Ninja Warrior legend here, Jamie Rahn. Jamie, welcome.
Hey-o. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, you've been on Ninja Warrior, it feels like forever.
Yeah, over a decade.
Oh, that's amazing. So I'm not gonna be able to do you justice. So for our listeners who some of them who may not know who you are, especially if they come from the obstacle course racing world, can you just give us a rundown of like your number of seasons, any kind of major highlights you've had over the years, et cetera?
Sure. So let me do quick math. So I've been on the past 14 seasons. I started in season 2, and we just started filming season 16. I've done international Ninja Warrior. I've done Germany, where I got to climb the tower stage 4 rope. I won the medal for that, and then I won team kind of USA versus Germany. I got to go to Vietnam, compete there. I got to go to Japan and compete there. I'm currently the only person to lose a shoe on the course and still finish the course. For a long time, I was one of the only people to get to the last obstacle of the semifinals. For a couple of years, it'd be mostly me, Moravsky, and Jeff Britton in the last 4. So it was really cool, growing up with them and training, as hard as we could. I kind of have a parkour background that I kind of took into Ninja Warrior. I love doing OCR races. I started with an event in Jersey called Goliathon, where you beat all the hardest ones first try. You become a David, like David and Goliath. I was the first to become a David, and I've got the most Davids. I think it's like 8 or 9 now. Not sure, but I'm 2 ahead of second place. So I got to keep that going. The next race is actually coming up in a couple months. So other than that, I think that's the majority of it as far as I can remember.
That is insane. That is so many things. I mean, it is like, and 14 seasons.
There you go.
Is baffling.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I did Team Ninja Warrior and Ninja vs. Ninja, where we did head-to-head races for all 3 years.
Amazing. That's seriously amazing. Goliathon's a race I've been meaning to get out in New Jersey. Super unique format.
Oh, you'd love it.
Yeah, it's such a unique format. If anyone has picked up my book, Mud Run Guide's OCR bucket list, it's in there. And there's some information.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, such a cool. And I remember every time I look at the website or like see the sign up, I always see you post results like, Jamie won David again. It's like, oh, sweet. So very impressive.
Oh yeah, it's always comes down to like 1 or 2 obstacles, and you're like, man, I hope this works this time.
Give people a quick rundown of like what makes Goliathon so unique. 'Cause I know there's like 3 levels, and talk a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, so Goliathon, one of the great parts about it is every time you beat an obstacle, you get a wristband. So it's kind of like you collect it as you go, which is really nice. And you get to pick how difficult the obstacle is. So there's about 12 obstacles and 3 levels. Level 1, it's a much easier version, and you can get help from your teammates or anyone you want the whole time. 2 and 3, you got to do by yourself, and they go up in difficulty. And I always say level 3 is kind of like Ninja Warrior, but a little bit muddy. So they all get harder and harder as you go. So the easy way to describe it, I think the warp ball for the G1 is, I think it's like a 9-foot, but with like a rope, maybe a 10-foot. And then the G2 is like a 12-foot. And then the G3, I think, is a 16-foot, but it's very mellow of a run. So it just gets the vertical. So they go up higher and higher. But it's great because if you feel like, hey, I don't want to, push myself on this one, it's a little intimidating. You can do 1 step down. and points are accumulated. 1 point for G1, 3 points for G2, 5 points for G3. No matter what you do, you get one try. Make it or not, you're moving on. So it's really unique in the OCR world. I kind of thought of it as the best kind of intermediary between Ninja and OCR.
Yeah, super cool. And is there any obstacle there where you're like, this is the one that sometimes gets me, or are you like 100% every time you go?
No, there's definitely two that are always up in the air. One is called what was the name? It's such a good name. It's something like Hope for the Best or Hail Mary. It's basically floating tires with plywood on top of varying sizes connected by a string underneath. So they don't always stay in line, and you have to hit a bell at the end. But one of the last few are like lawnmower tires, so they're very tiny, so it's very easy to miss it. So that one's always like a hope for the best. Just be as confident as you can. And then the other one that's really intimidating is the balance. It's not too bad. The majority of it, you're on a 2x12, going along these different paths. You got to crawl up this weave onto like a telephone pole. But then the big move is, you're like a foot off the water. And the jump is from a telephone pole to another 2x12, but you're jumping at it at an angle. And it's just too far to do a split onto. And so you got to jump to that and then make another, 12 feet to the shore to get to the end. And that one jump is just a big hope you can stay calm in it and not overcorrect. And you're always in your head like, oh, is it wet from other people on it? Is it going to be, the way I feel it's going to be? So it's definitely nerve-wracking, the two balance ones, because they are almost – it's really hard to tell if they are wet or not, and it's a full commitment move. It's not like, oh, I missed my grab, I can go back. It's you're 100% committed.
Nice, yeah. So some of the obstacles look super challenging, and it looks like a really cool event.
Very creative.
Very impressive, the number of times you've gotten all of them. So
Thanks.
Yeah. So Ninja Warrior, you said you've been on 14 seasons. We just they're filming season 15 and 16 in 2023.
Correct.
So currently, how did you get started? Like, how did you get your foot in the door? Give me like the initial, getting into Ninja Warrior story.
Sure. I didn't know about Ninja Warrior initially. There was a show, I think it was on Spike TV, called MXC, which is a Japanese game show dubbed for English for comedy. It was just really hysterical. And I used to watch with my dad, and then one day he's like, hey, I found a show that's like that one we're watching, but they're like real athletes. And so he showed me Sasuke, which was in Japan, and it started airing in the U.S. And while watching it, I saw a commercial saying, looking for costume competitors for for season 2. And I didn't even know there was a season 1 in the States. So that year I sent him my Halloween costume, which was Captain Planet. So it was all body paint with red mankini, high red socks, green hair, mullet. And so they were like, hey, we love it. We'd like you to come compete, but we got to change the logo because that's obviously copywritten. I was like, well, what about your logo? You own that to the station. They're like, oh, we love that idea. So I got in good with them, and I flew all the way out to Venice Beach for my first season, season 2. I failed the first obstacle. I came home. I was quite bummed. Season 3, I got called again, but I ended up needing surgery on my wrist from overworking power tools for my college thesis project. So I had to bow out, and the second year is the hardest to get called back, especially if you don't do well, because they want to see new faces. They want to see people do well. And luckily, I was called back for season 4 and did well enough and made a big enough impression that I've been called back every time since.
Wow, that's crazy. So I had no idea that's where the hair coloring came from, because that was even my next question. So you obviously you dropped the blue body paint for the show, right?
Oh no, I did the body paint the first time in Venice Beach, but I didn't have red body paint, so I used red acrylic paint. And so when I got done, everything that was blue was sunburnt, and everything that was red wasn't. And then the next time I competed, was in Florida or Miami, and it was just so cold that I was just shivering. So I can't wear anything because the body paint would come off. So season 4, we were in Baltimore, right on the harbor, and I was like, I can't do this. So I just wore sweatpants the whole time, and I was like, all right, we're getting better. And season 5, a gentleman who made outfits for the WWE reached out to me. He's like, hey, I saw your stuff, and I'd like to make an outfit for you for the course, and maybe like a Power Ranger, a different color for each stage. I was like, man, I love it. We're on the same wavelength, and he started making some stuff. But the WWE costumes functionality don't really work well for Ninja. For instance, like you have those kick pads on the legs, which look good, but then they kind of have to go underneath the shoe, which affects your grip. So we kind of played around with things. And after that year, I wore his outfit with some modifications, and he had a falling out with his business partner. And I was like, well, I like the idea. Let's try and make it my own. So I went to Joann Fabrics, got some, it's like a 4-way stretch swim / dance wear. And I just put something together, and I really liked it. And so I kind of kept that theme, and eventually I changed the letters on my chest that said NBC to a logo that I kind of made as like a shield with a lightning bolt through it, because you would not believe how many times I get asked, what does NBC stand for? And saying the TV network is not a great answer. So we were trying to think of what would be something cool, and the best we could think of is nobody cares. So I was like, let's just create a logo and hope people don't think about the name anymore. Yeah, the other option was Captain Nothing But Clears, which was nice too, but not as funny.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah, that's such a crazy story. And so have you kept the green hair for every season?
Yeah, it was originally that, Halloween spray stuff. And then I found Manic Panic, which is blacklight. It glows super bright, like in the bowling alley type stuff. And I begged for them to get a blacklight, but never worked. But the color was just so vibrant that I kept it, even though I changed the costume. One thing I liked was green's my second favorite color. I really love purple. But if you're wearing purple, you can't really have purple hair. You just kind of look like a big plum. So having green hair allows me a little bit more options. Plus, the green hair is so unique. I never really saw many people with it. So I like that I stood out. And throughout the seasons, people will tell me, oh, my kid knows all about you, or, hey, are you the guy from Ninja? And they don't know my name. They, may barely know my face, but they know the guy with green hair. Or they'll say, like, hey, watch Ninja, and do you know that guy with green hair? I was like, yep, that's me. So it's nice that it's been recognizable, and I think that really helped me get called back each year so consistently is, that awareness on the show that just sticks with people.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you covered it before I asked, but like from a marketing perspective, it's like genius because literally everyone knows. Like you said, if they don't know your name, they at least recognize you, right? Like when we go to a race and I see you, I can spot you from across the field, right? Like it's like, oh, Jamie's here, right?
Yeah.
And most people's awareness of Ninja Warrior is very wave tops, and they don't like when people are like, oh, you're friends with people on the show. I'm like, yeah, well, Michelle Warnke was on my team, my like obstacle course race team. And Michelle's been on the show, I don't know, 9 times at this point, and people are like, no, don't know her, but I know the Wonder Woman girl. Are you friends with her? It's like Jessie Graff.
Oh yeah.
So like they know wave tops. They don't know like unless you're like a real fan.
Yeah, I remember back in maybe season 8 or something, before they lowered the age and let all the teams in. I felt like I took a Guess Who game and turned it into like Ninja Guess Who, and it was really cool because I realized like you've got a cowboy, you've got an Eskimo, you've got the Hawaiian, you have the superhero, you have the Wonder Woman, and you have all these like specific characters where who's that ninja, he's the cowboy, you know exactly who he's talking about, Lance Pekus, or Wonder Woman is Jessie Graff, or superhero Jamie Rahn, or Bald Kevin Bull. And it was really cool that we kind of had that distinction in the beginning. And I think it's way harder for people to find that now to stand out amongst the crowd. So I'm really grateful that I had that. And the marketing fell in my lap with the green. I was like, oh, putting their name on my chest, that's great for marketing. But then when that went away, just, what you said, the visibility of it really worked out in my favor.
Yeah. So you mentioned like them opening up to the teens, and the last couple of years, there's been a lot of teens coming in, and they're like, I'm just baffled at how good they are. I mean, they've grown up with the sport. Their bodies are designed from like ground zero for ninja. Tell me just like some thoughts on the teens and kind of their explosion in the sport. Do you have any kind of from a veteran who's been on the show for a long time?
It's very kind of interesting. At certain points it's exciting, and at certain points it's kind of disappointing. But you see, like, they grew up and they've been training for about as long as I have been competing, but they've been doing it as they've been building their skills and building that strength, so it becomes more natural for them, and they're able to start higher and build quicker. I always say that COVID was the big bump for teens, because while us old people had to, find work and work for that time, they were off school and at home training all day. I was like, man, you guys really stepped up your game and used that to your advantage. And you watch a lot of the teens, and they go really fast, and they're really strong. And a lot of it is, I think, the way that they have learned and trained is based on what the course is now compared to what it was. And they learn to do big moves and fancy moves and technical moves. And that's just the norm for them, and they're super comfortable with it. So linking, for example, hitting a Lachey move back-to-back without having to do an extra backswing. I mean, you see that all the time with the teens. It's kind of like, if you can't link it, then you haven't solved the problem of the obstacle yet. Like, there's got to be a way to make it work. And they're just so strong. They find out the ways, and they've got great body control. And when we were growing up, it was like, all right, I just have to be strong enough that I can figure out how to do it before my muscles pump out. And now it's not like, how do I figure out this obstacle? It's get on, get off, save the energy, and keep moving forward. And, I mean, you've kind of seen in the past couple of years, and you'll see it in season 15 and season 16, just, how fast and incredible they're pushing the sport, which is disappointing because it makes it harder to keep up with them. But I do love, how difficult things are getting because they're at that level, and seeing all the crazy things that not only that they're doing, but they're inventing new obstacles, new designs, because they're at that level now. If you look at Sam Folsom, he has some crazy, absurd ideas that he makes that you're like, well, no one's going to do that. But you see him do it, and they're like, okay, I guess it could be an obstacle, but it's incredibly difficult. And Brett Sims, he's an OG of all the OGs, and he's very creative with the obstacles too. But yeah, those teens, man, they keep pushing it further and further, and they're very fun to watch. And I'm glad that they didn't get competitive. I know with like kid sports, it kind of becomes like a competitive thing against each other. But Ninja's always been you versus the course, and I love that they've started to carry that through. And it hasn't become this, I have to beat person A or person B, but, we're always just trying to figure out a way to get everyone through and cheering on, whether they do good or trying to help them out when they're doing bad. So I'm happy that stayed with. I'm glad to see them pushing really far, but a little disappointed that it's much harder to stay up to pace with them.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on. And yeah, that mentality of like us against the course is definitely there, and I could see it backstage last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you said, they were the I know that the TV show makes it seem like everyone's rooting for each other, but like backstage, everyone is legitimately rooting for each other. Like every time,
that tank gets so loud.
Yeah, like every time there's a close call, people are like, or it's it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I mentioned it earlier. They filmed season 15 and 16, and like I don't know how much. We obviously can't talk about season 15 or 16 because it hasn't aired yet.
Right.
But the rumor mill was going nuts. Like, is this the end of Ninja Warrior? Are they going to film? They're going to double down. They're going to film 2 seasons in one. Are they going to show 2 seasons in 1 year? Are they going to, show 1 season this year, 1 season next year, and we're going to have to wait 2 years to film?
I asked them. They haven't really made a final decision on it, and I'm sure they're going to keep it close to the chest so that they're not kind of held to any expectation. But there's talk of what do they call it? Like there might be a writer strike coming down the lane, which if that happens, good for us. We're not a scripted show. We could air 2 seasons in 1 year, which I think would be great. And then they would film another one. What I hope doesn't happen is they show 15, show 16 next year, and then film 17 the year after. Ideally, if they do split that up, they'll film 17 as they're airing 16. So they kind of always have one in the pocket to show next year. But really, they haven't decided on what's going to happen. I mean, they could even do 2 a year moving forward, which would be great. Like, Japan they had 2 tournaments per year. So you kind of had 2 chances at, Mount Midoriyama. And that's what I'm hoping for. But, producer discretion and TV world being what it is, you never really know. So, we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, there's stuff they filmed that, took a year plus before they even put it out on TV.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it, again, all rumors. So this is just adding to the rumor pile. There was a rumor. I heard a whole bunch of ideas. They were talking about selling it to a different network. So they were kind of keeping one in the pocket so the transition would be easier. But
like they could shop that out.
Yeah. So we'll see, and hopefully
possible. I don't want to have to change my name again.
That's what I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You'll just have to switch to just the generic The Captain or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I can't be like Captain Discovery Channel. It just doesn't flow off the thing. I'll just have to be Captain and shorten it to just one word.
Yeah. Good stuff. Tell me a little bit about your day job and kind of how that works in with ninja training.
Sure. So I'm doing deliveries for Amazon now. So I'm a delivery driver, which is nice because I'm constantly moving. And it's good because it's not that stressful. I kind of have some time to myself and to unwind. I'm a pretty isolated person, and I feel pretty comfortable like that. If I don't get that throughout the week, it kind of eats at me. So it's nice to have paid time to do that. So I'll be moving somewhere between 6 and I think my most was this week. I hit 15 miles in a day. And it's nice. My route's out in kind of like the woodsy area. So there's a lot of long driveways that the truck can't make it up. So I get some nice hill sprints up and down with packages throughout the day, which is really just good leg and cardio work, which has kind of kept me in shape since I haven't been able to get to the ninja gym as much. And then I just try and hit up climbing and ninja open gyms once a week to keep that upper body going. And, I love just parkour and body movement. And then I'll hit up OCR competitions and ninja competitions when I can fit them in. The big thing is, now that I've got a son, got to spend a lot of time helping around the house and, taking care of him. So it's a lot of, do I leave for 3 hours to do an hour and a half of training, or do I hang out with my son so my wife can, eat dinner, have a shower, and I get some, father-son time. So job-wise, it's great to keep the cardio up, but upper body-wise, I haven't been able to do what I used to do, which is just, condition the hell out of everything day in and day out when I did work at the ninja gyms.
Gotcha. Now, I've obviously legend in the sport of ninja, right? Been going for 14 years. Is there a retirement in the future? Are you going to keep going till you have fun? So I was, backstage this year, some of the veterans were like, I think this is my last year. And regardless of how I do. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was surprised to hear person X say that.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on the future? I talked with
a couple of them. And the thoughts were, if I don't feel like I'm going to win it, I don't want to compete. for some of them. And I was like, okay, I could kind of understand that. But for me, at a certain point, like I felt 100% I can win the whole thing for most of my career. The past, like, maybe 3, it was questionable. I was like, all right, I can get, close to it, and, I can just mentally push and see what happens. I wasn't, like, super confident that I was going to go through if I didn't make any stupid mistakes. But what I started to realize is that if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And I don't know if you're familiar with Sean Darling Hammond. He's the Giving Ninja. He hasn't competed in a while, but I was sick on set one year. I get migraines a lot. I was born with a brain cyst, so they come pretty often and come pretty heavy. And I had one on set of semifinals, and I was just like hiding in a hole. And he comes up and he's like, "Man, isn't this awesome? We get to, try this course, and like they spent millions of dollars to make it, and we get to play on it. They made it like just for us." And I was like, "You know what, man? You're right. Regardless of how you feel or how you do, like if you think of it like you get to play on something that no one else gets to, and they put all this money into it. They want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail. They want to give you the best chance at it. And so it's all just a great time if you keep it in the right perspective. And I've considered retirement, and I don't think I'm ready for it. I always said I'll keep coming back so long as they let me, which I would love to do. The only thing I think that would pull me earlier is if that camaraderie and, ninja versus the course turns into, ninja versus the ninja, trying to make it more of a rival thing, or, that attitude changes. Then I just wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't have the fun. And I would try to focus my attention on getting back to Japan. But, seeing that, like we talked about, the teams, keeping that alive, which I really like to see, and, hope that keeps pushing through with the new changes and the formats coming in for 15 and 16. So, yeah, right now I'm going to go until they don't let me, because, it's fun, and you get to play on something that, for a lot of people, it's a once-a-lifetime thing, so I'm not going to pass that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my family came out and watched last year because I was like, well, you never know if this is the only or the last year I'm going to get it. So, like, you got to come out at least once, right? So,
yeah.
And then my daughter was upset she didn't get to come out this year. So,
you said they didn't get to come out this year?
Nah, last year was during spring break, so we could miss school.
Oh, nice.
And then this year it didn't quite line up well, and this year was also not drivable for me versus the last year.
Yeah, LA is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife came to only season 15 because my episode was filmed on the weekend. 16 was during the week. It's like it was so expensive just to do that and take off the weekend from work, but to miss work and have to pay for a flight and a hotel, that's just a lot.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Well,
so how
you can always just tell her, wait till I get to Vegas, and then we can meet up there.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in the overseas ones? Did you apply those separately, or was that like Ninja Warrior knows you because you're an established person and they were like, hey, here's an opportunity. Why don't you come over and kind of help get the program started overseas?
Well, it started with there's the Malaysian Cup that I wanted to go to, but I couldn't make it work. It was like super short notice. That was kind of the first international piece I know of. Strat, Bernardo, Warnke, they all went out and had an amazing time. Brett Sims. And it was like kind of like an international thing beyond the USA versus the world. And after that, there's a Vietnam Ninja Warrior, or Sasuke Vietnam, and Bernardo and a couple of people went. And when they went back, they asked if I wanted to go. And I was like, yeah, how do I apply? And they go, send, your information to this person. And I basically kind of put together like a show reel of like, this is what I've done in America. I'd love to try out with you guys. And so I got to go there, which is great. And I got to meet, I got to meet Inui, who's the producer of Sasuke in Japan when he came to America, when USA versus the World came. And the Japanese competitors came over, which was just like a huge, awesome moment to, be able to compete with those guys. And then I saw him in Vietnam, and he saw, that I did well enough that he invited me out to Japan, which I was just so happy about. But before I got there, one of the producers for Germany asked me to come out there. Grant, the Island Ninja, he was in Germany, and he gave my name to the producer of someone that would be interested and be good on it. Producer thought it was a great idea, reached out, and I went out there. And then I went out to Japan, was the last one I got to go to. In Japan, I met the Israel guys and was set to go out to Israel, except COVID happened. So that just kept getting postponed. And then when it looked like it was going to go, my son was going to be born in a couple weeks. So that kind of postponed it again. But I do love traveling to those international things and seeing the community as a worldwide community outside of just kind of our national group. But it just started out as some people had done it. There was like an opening for it. They had applied, and then I applied, and they kind of gave me good reference, I guess. And then just being recognizable internationally, that the hair and the look and being able to do well enough on the show, I think gave me enough interest for them to bring me into all these other countries.
Yeah, super cool. And, all the connections you made, it sounds like, just being a genuinely good person and being friendly and kind of reaching out and keeping in touch with people sounded like really panned out well for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no reason to ever be, a dick or, to production or rude or anything like that. Like, they're the gatekeepers, but they're at work. Whatever we do on set, they're there before and after regardless. So they always have it harder than we do, even though like we feel like this is it's more important for us, but they're putting in a lot of effort too. And just, recognizing that and thanking them when I see them and, congratulating them on good seasons or good obstacles or, telling them how much, I like what they did with the new, obstacle design or, the new setup with the tent or, ninja holding, whatever it is, I like to communicate that so that they know we're appreciative of it. And then I think, like you said, just being a good person, people see that and that carries on. And, no one wants someone that's going to be throwing tantrums, invited to their country to, go on their course. They want people that their audience is going to root for and stand behind. You don't want like that. Ninja isn't like wrestling where you have the heel that everyone boos against. They're all just different forms of heroes.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And it's a good point also you mentioned about the production. I have not had a single bad experience with production. Like you said, they are there before us and after us, and their days are longer. And then, we just have to kind of show up for a brief amount of time for some of the days, like the interviews and stuff like that. And they're there dealing with people, all sorts of problems, late flights or whatever, all the crazy, possibly positive COVID, all the what ifs, and problems that each individual athlete may or may not have, so.
If there's a what if, something probably came up and they've had to deal with it, that the 4 a.m., like, oh, my flight got delayed, I'm coming in at 4. Well, they got to figure out how to make that work and like someone came in, they were competing that day, their flight got delayed. So they showed up that morning, did the COVID, the paperwork, then had to go do like a quick interview B-roll so that they could go get dressed to go to set to hit the course. So like things can happen and it could be super rushed and super hectic, but they got their head on a swivel and they're really good at keeping everything organized and solving those problems.
Right on. Yeah. Last ninja question. Sasuke Japan, that's still going on? I don't follow the international scene very closely.
Yeah, it's still going on.
You know how many finishers they've had over the 20 plus years I'm guessing it's been going?
Total, I think, could be wrong, but I want to say, I'm trying to picture them, 5.
Okay, wow, that's lower than I was expecting.
4 or 5. Yuji got it twice, and Yusuke got it twice. and then Nagano. I forget who hit it first, and then Renee. I don't think he won. I think he was just furthest the fastest that year. I haven't kept track with the results of it. I know they just aired most recent one. I didn't get to watch that one. I fell asleep, but I did watch the other one, which is amazing. Their stage 4 is always so exciting. Now it's a speed wall to a stamina ladder to a rope climb, which I think is harder than a spider wall because you can just pop, pop, pop. And their obstacles are not as dynamic or as, expensive looking as America, but a lot of them are very creative and, pardon me, they have a lot of like mechanical movements. Like, did you see the new cliffhangers that move up and back and up and down?
I have not.
Oh yeah, there's stage 3. You go around, and then to jump across the cliffhanger, you 180 to a cliffhanger that's moving up and down, so you have to time it. And then you 180 back to one that's moving forward and backwards, so you have to time that so it's not moving away from you. And then, of course, you got a nice vertical limit after that into a pipe slider. So it's really just another level of ninja, but it's just a totally different style than America, where America is big splashes, big dynamic moves, where a lot of theirs, I think, is a lot of strength and technique.
Right on. Cool. Great info. Just a wealth of knowledge here. We're going to move on to some OCR topics and some OCR races and questions now.
Yeah.
So you're one of the few ninjas that I regularly see at obstacle course races. So I guess,
yeah,
why the crossover, and why do you think there's not as many others crossing over?
I know there's a lot of ninjas that avoid OCR because they're afraid of getting injured. I know a lot of the time the races are usually close to competing, and they don't want to risk it. And I think it's just, out of their element. There isn't a lot of running in Ninja Warrior, but there is a good amount of running cardio in OCR. There was a small group, that we kind of went around with for a while, but yeah, I think it is just that fear of getting hurt, and kind of, ninja is very specific. It's kind of like rock climbing, where, it's either chalked, it's clean, it's dry, like nothing's wet, nothing's slippery. And I think that's a big concern of, peeling out on something or twisting an ankle is just something they're not used to. And if they're fully committed to, the sport of ninja, that they kind of avoid it. Me, I like to get as much variety as possible. I really like the challenge. Oh, hi, James. This is my son. So I really like the challenge, and I love the idea of, putting myself in that mental position, like I told you about the Goliathon obstacles. You have this really important move, and you don't know if it's going to be wet. You just have to be completely focused and calm your nerves. I like that, and I also like being able to do obstacles when I'm winded or exhausted. So I think of them as great training, where I'm going to run and I'm never going to stop before the obstacle. I'm just going to go straight into it. That way, I'm forcing myself to do the obstacle when I'm out of breath, when I'm a little bit tired, stuff like that, just to keep my brain sharp and fresh with my muscles. So I always do an elite wave with OCR, even if I'm not going to do well in it. Like OCR Worlds, I'm in I think I hit the top 50%, but it was not great. And I knew I wasn't going to do well. I was walking up the first hill, but I knew that if I did anything besides elite in races, things were going to be wet. There was going to be lines waiting for people. And I don't want to have to wait in a line. I want to go, hit an obstacle, move on, and really challenge myself. So all the OCR races, if you hit the elite wave, it's great. The course is not too destroyed or, mudded up at that point. So you get a good kind of challenge. You don't have to wait in line. But yeah, I just love the challenge. I love the variety. That's kind of why I like parkour. I like to try and be as capable of as many different things as possible.
Yeah, good answer. I think there's a lot of good lessons there too for anyone who's maybe a ninja that wants to diversify some of their training and kind of become a little more well-rounded. I was talking to some
Yeah,
of
I try and.
I
Oh,
was talking
sorry.
to
I
some
was
of
just gonna say
the like some of the big ninjas backstage this year, and I'm not gonna name who she is, but one of them's like, she's like, I can't even run a mile, and I was like,
Yeah,
I was blown away by it because I look at her and I'm like, you are just this amazing athlete, and
right. You're
it's weird
shredded,
to
but
think that it's things are very specialized, and I get the same thing where like
hmm
I'm very good at ultra endurance with obstacles, but then when
yeah,
you take me out of that comfort zone, the some of the dynamic movements in ninja, sometimes it doesn't translate well because there's not as many
hmm
dynamic movements in OCR or I also do some like martial arts stuff since some of them like the flexibility movements we do, they're like, aren't you like an elite athlete? I'm like, yeah, but like certain muscles are like purposely tight that makes me an efficient runner. Like
right.
I can't bend over and do some of these movements you're asking me to do. So
Yeah, and you don't want to ignore it either. You want to, tackle your weaknesses. It's interesting you say that because uh, you're familiar with Mike Bernardo, firefighter.
yep.
So he does the Goliathon with me every year, and we do a jog. Like he would kick my butt if we tried to run it. It's like we're gonna do a Goliathon pace. We're just gonna jog through, but we're not gonna stop. And like every race we do, we kind of hit it like that. And I think the reason that we like the OCR races like that is because we just like to get our butts kicked. We love to just condition until we're sweating and dying and sore. So we're not good runners. We're gonna be exhausted by running this thing, hitting, hills and stuff, but just that conditioning aspect of it, I think is great. And a lot of people don't love that kind of masochistic, just destroy yourself and hit it like that. But I don't know. I think it can be fun.
Yeah, well, you're in good company. I'm definitely in the little bit of pain is
Oh
good.
yeah, with your level, I assume for sure.
So let's talk about Hazelwood OCR and what makes that unique. So it's first of all, I guess just tell people where Hazelwood OCR is and tell us a little bit about the race.
Yeah, so Hazelwood OCR out here in Missouri, in Hazelwood, they have two courses that they do a year. They had three before I moved here, but they moved it down to two. One's called the Chirenji, and the other one was the Valentine's Day Massacre. Now it's just called the Massacre. They moved it into March to avoid the snow, which is grateful. But it's mostly volunteer, set up, run on the day. A lot of the obstacles are kind of community based, and what it's great at is variety and difficulty and packing a lot in a short space. So the massacre we just did, we got to run down a water slide, which is just awesome, and I've never done before in any type of race or event.
I love
But
that.
then I also, had to carry, heavy concrete blocks, and then I also had to do, challenging ninja grip obstacles that spun and nunchucks and all this stuff. So it has that feel of the Goliathon obstacles, which I really enjoy, but it's just at a smaller scale. Did you do the Chirenji last time they did it, where they had that kind of track at the end?
No, I didn't. I actually, I think I tore an intercostal muscle or pulled an
Oh
intercostal
no!
muscle in jujitsu like the week before, and it was like 2 weeks before World's Toughest, and I was like, I should
Oh
probably just take
god!
the weekend off. So,
Oh, absolutely. World's Toughest is a little bit more serious.
but I was upset I missed it though because I've done the last two massacres and absolutely love them. Like I
Oh
can't
yeah.
even the turnout is low, and I'm always like, you people,
It's
like
yeah.
this
They're
race
missing
is
out.
so good, and you people are
Yeah.
paying double and triple the amount for a quarter of the number of obstacles and significantly
Right?
less fun. Like I don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun there. I have the same thought. I was like, why are people missing out? This is so good. The Chirenji last year had my favorite thing. It was nothing fancy, but they had like a loop with 8 stations. So you come to station one and it was I don't know, something like run through the tires up and back, or pull the spool up with the weight with your feet, run the rope up with the spool using your feet, and then bring it back. And once you finish that station, you'd have to take a weight, walk it all the way around the lap, put it back where you were, and then move up one block. And then you did another obstacle, then moved a whole lap again with the weight, and did that 8 times. That was the last set before you hit the wall to finish the course. And I just loved how it was so much packed in. It's like, all right, you're going to do an obstacle, and then you're going to do a weight carry, and then you're going to do another one, and then you're going to do a weight carry. So there's like no letdown, and it was a really clever idea to fit in a lot in such a short area.
Yeah, that's super cool. I know, to me, like the Hazelwood OCR is like a masterclass on how to do an obstacle course race with not many lanes and like a smaller budget, because they like every obstacle has like 1 or 2 lanes depending on the obstacle, and then they run it in a time trial format, right? So you can't let off the gas because you never know what anyone else is doing. Someone else, several spots back could be running twice as fast as you, right? You never know, right? So you got to kind of do the whole event. Tell us a little bit about some of the other unique obstacles that were at this past massacre.
Oh, let's see. So we ran down that. We climbed into a pool. Hold on. I was going to say just the terrain. Oh, yeah. The terrain is nice. Running down a hill into a little valley. Did you do the tree jump?
The tree jump. That one's not ringing a bell.
Oh, so you could, to cross the little river, you could either climb down around or just run off the tree like a action movie star. I was like, oh, I'm going for the tree. It was such like a great setup to just use the environment to make it a really challenging obstacle. God, what did they have? They had the Baumgarten rig where you had to do all the upper body, and then you had to carry a 4x4 across a wiggling beam for weight, which was really interesting. God, I can't even remember. I just remember, I know what was really clever. The tire crawls, where there's like 8 tires just hanging from a spindle low to the ground, and you have to crawl under it and push the tires up as you go. It's so simple, and it looks so easy, but I find it to be so exhausting trying to like wedge yourself between these tires with the friction of them against each other and just not moving. Oh, I dread those so much.
So I love how it's so I think the Shurinji is 2 miles with like 60 obstacles, and the Massacre is 3 miles with I think 65 obstacles, right? So it's just super dense, and it's in a park, right? So like a lot of OCRs, you got to drive out into the middle of nowhere. This one's like it's like on the edge of in St. Louis, right? Like it's right there, and they don't have a lot of space, they don't have a lot of terrain, but again they pack so much in there. Almost every obstacle had a volunteer, or if it wasn't a volunteer at the obstacle, there was someone who could see that obstacle, which I was just really impressed with the number of volunteers and the kind of the community surrounding them. And some of my favorite obstacles were at one point you did a heavy carry through the shallow end of a pool, and then you walked to the deep end, and you actually climbed out of the pool. There's no water in it, right? So, but you
thankfully.
Yeah, it was a rope. It was like a kind of a wall climb, but you're down like 12 feet.
It was like tied to where the diving board was, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was another one, it's on my Instagram page if anyone's listening or not following me. It's at ultra-ocr man, but there was a net that it was like over the balcony of like the fitness center, and like
the cargo net down.
Yeah, and it was tied to a picnic table essentially. So that's what it was weighted down with. But like, if you just jumped off that, you'd fall like, 15, 20 feet, but the net, obviously the net, you climb over. But I just thought that was so unique. And that was a good thing to kind of hit across. You get there. The just another one I just thought of for the Trendy that was super unique last time is they brought out a fire truck and extended the ladder out. And so you had to go across the whole ladder. And at the end, there was a slack line attached to it.
and you had to go across the slack line to hit a bell before you dropped down. And I was like, who brings a fire truck to an OCR race? This is pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, the obstacles are so unique, and they have these enormous crash pads also. So some of the obstacles you can just, I mean, I can like recklessly launch myself off of them and still land and be fine. So, and then at the end, the massacre last year, you started in the skate park. The massacre this year, you ended in the skate park. Which again, I love the use of the terrain, and they had like a Tyrolean traverse connecting two of the kind of quarter pipes.
Oh yeah, across like the half pipe.
Half pipe, yeah. So.
And the volunteers are great. They're out there and they're cheering you on, and then they take photos of everyone going through. So, you get all these photos throughout the day. You don't have to have like a professional photographer at like every obstacle. Most people just want to see themselves on an obstacle. They don't necessarily need like the highest quality, 4K, photo, which is great. But, for, most people that don't do it, professionally, they're like, yeah, I just want to be able to show people what I did. And they're out there. So I think they just posted like hundreds of photos on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's another good point. And the photos were up literally within minutes. Like before I had left the venue, I go onto their Facebook, and there are photos like appearing on my Facebook feed, and I was like, how is this? People, like they were uploading them like immediately, so that was super cool. You didn't have to wait several days for your photos.
Amazing turnaround.
Amazing, yeah. And then on top of that, right? So the race starts right outside of a fitness center. So before the race, you could hang out inside the fitness center. So it's a little still at March, it's still a little cool. So it was nice to have like a warm area to hang out in, and because of the size of the race, you kind of had like your own pit, like little setup space. So it felt like a VIP treatment to me as someone who does a lot of these races. I felt like a VIP, right? I had my own little area, and my kids could hang out, and I got all my bags and stuff in there.
We had indoor plumbing. We had a shower, which was great because you just came from Ninja, and I was going to Ninja. So after the race, I had to go hop in the shower to rinse off to get to the airport. And I normally like, whatever, I'll just be dirty. But having a shower there was actually amazing. And for people who've done OCR races and waiting in line in a porta-john, I'd much rather wait in line for regular plumbing than I would for an outhouse.
Yeah, that's right. Another good point. And I actually technically I had run Ninja Warrior the day before in the very, very early hours of the morning. And I was like, oh no, at most Ninja Warrior, right, for the first stage is 6 obstacles. I was like, so
yeah,
my grip strength will be fine. And I got to like the first rig, and my arms pumped out immediately, and I was like, all right, maybe I was not fine. So
yeah. Good thing you had the cardio. You caught up quick.
I do have the cardio. Yes, I do. Yeah. So that's my, OCR is my specialty. So it was,
it's that Ultraman training.
Yeah, that's right. And then let's see,
and don't forget about the enormous medals that they give out.
So cool. Yeah.
They're like probably the biggest that I have, if not tied with. I mean, they're bigger than your palm.
Yeah, they're like 3x5, these like metal cards, and it's got this cool like Grim Reaper on it.
From the Massacre this year.
Yeah, so
good.
Postcard
of metal.
So good, they're so good. Yeah, I mean, it anyone who went to like OCRWC or North American Championships, they feel like that quality, that kind of weight. So anyone who's like a swag is like big on swag, like that was really good. And then they Dr. Littlefield, the race owner's son, was there. He's a chiropractor. Was giving some free treatments, and then they had
nice. I like that with Doug's son.
Then they also had a Yeti walking around in costume that my son was scared of. That my daughter thought was fun. And First Form was there from Supplement Superstore, so we got some free, kind of supplements. And then tell people how you did, and a little bit about the podium ceremony / swag you got for doing well.
Yeah, it was great. I got second, which was fun. I got a whole bag full of First Form swag. headband, a whole bunch of bars, a whole bunch of energy drinks. I don't think I got any protein or pre-workout stuff. I did at a previous Hazelwood race, which I'm scraping the bottom of now because they were big barrels and they give out a lot of first form at these events. And God, what else did I get in there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Tons of bars, beef jerky. There's like all sorts of beef jerky and some electrolyte drink and
Mm-hmm. And then you got the ultimate podium up on the cherry picker.
Yes. So I came in second last year, and I was on the stage. And this year I came in first, and when they announced first, they had first behind the kind of the big banner, and when they gave us like a quick class beforehand, and when they announced our names, we essentially rose up, I don't know, 25 feet on this cherry picker, like coming out from behind the sign. It's one of the coolest podium ceremonies ever.
They got the fog machine for you.
They had the fog machine. They had like these giant skeletons, like the Home Depot one. That's the one that's like 10 feet tall was there. So
did they get your swag up on the cherry picker, or did they wait till you came down?
They waited till I came down. Yeah, that's
okay. I figured it'd be too much to fit up there.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
I mean, you probably walked out. There was 2 armfuls of goodies.
Yeah, I mean, I got also like you said, I got basically the same goodie bag you got, plus I got like a big jug of protein powder that I haven't even cracked into yet. So yeah, such a good event. I highly recommend going. The next one is the Shirinji. I want to say it's the last weekend in September. I want to say Doug said.
Yeah, it's around September, October. I don't know. Did they post the date for it yet?
I'm not sure if he posted it yet, but he messaged me and said I think he said it was last week in September. Anyway, go to Hazelwood OCR. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Give them a follow, and then you'll be able to keep up with all their events. And like we said, the turnout tends to be kind of small. So for those of you who are looking for good placement, good opportunity. And for those of you who just want a great time, again, for the value you're paying per obstacle, I mean, I don't think there's another race out there that's going to be like that. You're going to get that many obstacles for that price. I mean, it's just insane. It's completely insane.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, it's great that you're near the spectators for a good portion of it. So you get people cheering you on. You're not kind of out in the woods waiting to find people again, but it's always, a good crowd atmosphere.
Yeah, agreed. My wife and kids love it. They were able to watch me on several obstacles. My kids were there's 2 playgrounds that my kids were playing on while I was running. My kids gave me a high five like right before the end, which was really
nice.
Fun. From a playground. So like we crawled under like a playground bridge.
Oh yeah, crawl.
Yeah, right before we descended, and they kind of reached down and gave me a high five. That was really fun.
Just wait for Daddy on the playground for him.
Say again.
It's like they were just like, we'll wait for Daddy on the playground.
Yeah,
he'll come to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And can't say enough good things.
It's a bummer you missed the Chirenji, but I'm glad you made the Valentine or the Massacre.
Yeah, hopefully this. I gotta look at my schedule. I only plan out like a month or 2 just because things get a little crazy between work and racing.
I imagine so. Are you doing World's Toughest this year as well?
I am. Yep. I feel like I got at least a solid 1 or 2 more years of like being competitive as an individual, at least, and then we'll see. I'll kind of reevaluate from there, and I might start switching to team for some other years. We'll see.
I'm going to give it a go this year. I was my wife's pit crew for the 12-hour and the 24, but we found out 3 days before the 24 she was pregnant. So we just kind of went camping, and she walked both laps, the first and the last. I was like, all right, this will be fun to actually do. So we planned last year that we were both going to go through the Tough Mudder series and give Worlds a try and, just see what we get.
Awesome. Super exciting. Yeah, love seeing you out there. I remember seeing you on one of the 12 hours standing by Everest, and I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. You're like, hey.
Yeah, I'll just dance along with that DJ underneath it.
Yeah. It's great. What else? Where else can people find you in 2023?
Well, I got Instagram is where I'm mostly active. Facebook does stuff there, but just at Captain NBC. I'll be going to the Goliathon June 3rd, which is I'm the guy that sends you off at the starting block, and then I hop in the last wave and run the race with them. I'll be doing Tough Mudder at the end of this month. I think it's 29th in Missouri. My wife is a Tough Mudder ambassador. She's been doing OCR for a while. So she got a good group of people. I think we got like 20 or so ninja parents joining us for that race, which will be a lot of fun. A lot of them their first time doing OCR. And then we'll be doing the toughest, world's toughest. We've got the World Ninja League regionals at Ultimate Ninja St. Louis. I think that's July. And then Worlds, if I make it through, which I assume I would. I don't know when that is. I think that's in like North Carolina, probably closer to like June or July as well. And then what was the other thing we were doing? This is why I need calendars. I think that's like most of the races and events that we kind of have going up. I know there's some local ones that we'll pop into. Obviously, I'll hit the Chirenji again when that comes up, and try and hit up some local, just 5Ks and 10Ks, and keep active and support the community with events and stuff if we can.
Sounds good. And last question, tell us something people would be surprised to know about you.
Let's see. Got to find something that Ninja hasn't talked about yet. Oh, no. Something that they might be surprised to know is that they've probably seen that I have a good amount of tattoos. And I actually was starting my internship to become a tattoo artist before I became a ninja coach. And before that, I was an architect or trained to be an architect. But I actually tattooed myself a couple times, and there's a style of tattooing. I wanted to kind of go through the history of, American traditional. You got kind of the Japanese poking style. You've got the tapping, and then you have the skin stitching, which is just like needle and thread and a thing of ink, and you get 2 dots every time, which is mostly the Inuit people. And I waited like 4 years, never found someone, so I started doing it. So I started doing skin stitching on myself, which was quite a process to muster up the nerve for, and it's been going very slowly. But yeah, I've tattooed myself in the normal way and a very unpleasant way as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting. I usually try to match the guest to something similar. I think most people know this. I think if you follow my social media, because I'm usually very shirtless. I've got 2 tattoos on me. One is an Orthodox cross on my back, and the other one is a couple of letters and numbers for one of my friends that died overseas in combat. So that's on the inside of my arm. So usually it's hard for people to read, so people usually ask me what it is. And then the Orthodox cross on my back, since we're actually recording on normal Easter Sunday for people. So this is actually Orthodox Palm Sunday. So my Easter is a week from today, and has to do with the old calendar and kind of how they calculate Easter. So a lot of times Orthodox and Catholic Easter will be a week apart a lot of the times, and sometimes it's occasionally it's like crazy. It's like almost like 5 weeks apart. It can be separated by like over a month, but it's usually about a week apart. And occasionally it's on the same day. But yeah.
Well, I've learned something.
And then for the Orthodox cross, again, some people are confused by the cross on my back, right? So it's 3 bars representing the Holy Trinity. And then on top of that, the bottom bar is slanted because when Jesus was crucified, he was crucified with 2 criminals. One of them repented for his sins and one of them did not. So one of them went up to heaven and one went down to hell. So that's why the bottom bar is angled like that. So
clever.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Do you get frustrated when people ask for the explanation on the letters and numbers? Because it's kind of free for them.
No, it doesn't bother me. A lot of times people ask because they're generally curious, and then like I explain it, and then a lot of people don't know how to respond. When it's like, oh, my college roommate was killed in Iraq, and then they're like, it just takes them back. They're like, I was not ready for that type of answer. And actually, we're recording 2 days after the death of his anniversary, right? So he decided April 7th, 2007. So about 16 years ago and 2 days ago. So,
Well,
yeah. So I'm actually at Fort Benning right now, and they have a Global War on Terrorism Memorial at the National Infantry Museum, which I did not know about, which was kind of cool because there's lists of like all of my friends and coworkers' friends from that have died overseas. I took some pictures this past weekend and sent it to some of the widows and other people I know who've lost people in combat. So that was kind of a nice surprise.
Where's the museum?
Say again?
Where's the museum?
So it is at Fort Benning, Georgia, which is Columbus, Georgia, about an hour and a half south of Atlanta.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I also went to the original. I also went to the original Chick-fil-A, which is in Atlanta, right by the airport. If anyone's flying through Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
They have a special menu. Also interesting. Like
anything unique?
Yeah, they had this sweet potato souffle that I would highly recommend.
I wouldn't expect a souffle from a Chick-fil-A, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it was like sweet potatoes and had some like sort of brown sugar on top or something. It was absolutely delicious. So like half of the Chick-fil-A is like a normal Chick-fil-A, and the other half is like a diner. So you get some normal Chick-fil-A items, but then you also get some of these specialty items, and some of them from like their original that were on the original menu when the first Chick-fil-A opened, which was called Dwarf House in 1947. So again,
cool.
I just came from there, so I have all these facts floating around in my head.
You're not that amazing at memory.
Yeah, it's like 48 hours old, so it's easy to keep that in my brain. All right, awesome. We're gonna get going. Any final shout outs you want to give, Jamie?
Just Doug from Hazelwood OCR. He runs a lot of it and puts in a lot of work and time, and I just want him to be acknowledged for all the amazing work he does with the OCR races. And like we said, there's definitely not as many people there that should be there. And I just want him to have successful events, and I think he's a great person. So want to shout out Doug and the amazing work that he does for the Hazelwood OCR and community.
Yep, agree 100%. And if anyone wants more information on obstacle course racing or any training tips, you can check out my website, teamstrengthspeed.com. Got some books on there. And then also Blegmitz, the best-selling obstacle course racing mitten, the only glove you need for OCR, is also on there. I ran out or I'm about to run out of medium and large, but I should have a shipment in probably by the time this episode actually publishes. So anyone that wants some mittens, you can head over to teamstrengthspeed.com and save yourself about $20 as opposed to buying them from Australia.
Nice.
And it takes about 4 days when I ship them as opposed to like 3 weeks. So so they're the same exact product. Deanna sends them to me in bulk, and I help distribute them here in the United States. You can check that out.
That's excellent.
All right, we're going to get going. Jamie, thanks for spending the time and giving us some of your knowledge. It's been great, and I loved all of your ninja background stuff. So anytime you want to come on and share some more info, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It was fun chit-chatting ninja and OCR.
All right, we'll catch you later. Thanks again.
Awesome. See ya.